Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show. Today, we're going to be talking about the books that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, June 8th, and there are a lot of incredible books. But on top of that, we are going to have some amazing guests that are both mighty and powerful. So stay tuned, because you're not going to want to miss this show. Hi everyone, I'm Matthias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you. All right, and today we are talking about books that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, June 8th. We have some great items as we enter in Pride Month that I love are going to be coming in right at the end of that, and I am beyond excited because this is looking like a good year for LGBTQ creators and stories.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, for the first time in a long time, we're getting a more diverse product offering beyond just books for Pride Month. Like we were discussing before we went on the air, socks that definitely won't fit me, and things like that. That we're able to get through our distributors. That again, in the old days, one distributor sold all the things. Well, as these other distributors have spun up, now all of a sudden they're offering more of the things as opposed to just the books. And that will be nice for local comic shops to have an opportunity to bring in some of that peripheral product again in an easier way than some of them have had in recent years. So
yeah, I mean, it is definitely a fun thing to watch, going and visiting other comic shops and seeing the diversification of products as we see comic shops more frequently including manga, prose novels, and as you can even see at the bottom of our website right here on Penguin Random House, socks. I like Pride socks for a full-on gay crisis. Sometimes you need the right pair of socks. So I want to remind everyone that if you want to find all of the items, including the peripheral items that aren't just comic books, that are on Final Order Cutoff each week, we recommend 2 major websites. If you're a fan of Marvel, IDW, Dark Horse, Distillery, Boom Studios, Ignition, and more, Penguin Random House is the main distributor for that, and prhcomics.com is going to be the website you want to check out. Because right off the bat on that website, you can see they have the date right there, FOC June 8th. You can click that, and that will bring you to this wonderful little section of the website where we recommend sorting A to Z. I got called out for this yesterday that you had pointed out I say Z apparently just to sound fancy, and it is a weird mentality that has just been trapped in my brain for my entire life. But nevertheless, A to Z, you can get everything organized that way, and there's a lot to see. But I know there's some publishers that we didn't mention. even though they're technically on screen on Penguin Random House because they're handled through their book distribution app. But if you want to find the comic books by DC, as well as books from Image, Oni Press, Dynamite, and more, they're not going to be at prhcomics.com. They're going to be at lunardistribution.com. Lunardistribution.com will bring you to this fancy little website. Scroll down a hair to upcoming FOC and make sure you're on the right date. And you can see all of their offerings on FOC. Now, as always, we're going to talk about the big highlights, the big new number ones, the hot covers, the amazing new storylines, and more. But check out both of these websites so you can get a complete list to your local comic shop. The sooner, the better. I want to really quickly take a moment, though, and say we have some amazing guests on today's show. Amazing is perhaps not the proper adjective. They're mighty. They're powerful. And we're still waiting.
Leaving off that middle word that's super important. Because if they're not that middle word, are they even really what they are? If you can't get the Megazord, are we even trying?
There it is. Giving the hint away. So we're still waiting on one of the guests. Should we wait a little bit longer and discuss some of the... No, let's bring him right in.
Hi.
All right. The mighty, Morphin, powerful Marguerite Bennett. You are taking on one of my childhood favorite titles. And then on top of that, you're doing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as well. I mean, you are bringing all of my 90s nostalgia home. So we have you, and we will soon, I believe, have your co-artist, your co-creator, your artist, Andrew Lee Griffith, joining us shortly. But we caught me off guard, and now I'm diving to try and put words together, which is something you're very professional at. So, Marguerite, would you like to talk about one of the books that you are currently working on at Boom Studios?
Sure. But before that, I wanted to ask, in the scroll open that you have, are you wearing a Warhammer shirt?
No, actually, I'm wearing a distillery shirt. I'm wearing the Somna shirt.
Oh gosh, sorry, I thought it was like doomed to acrid flames, like in the clip, and I was like, that's like one of the Warhammer lyrics, I think. Anyway, my bad.
No, I mean, well, that would be a cool one. Also, I try my best to always theme it to some kind of comic, and Somna at the time when we were doing that was just a masterpiece. As many of the items that Distillery does, you have familiarity with.
Yeah. I'm doing a few things with Boom right now. Let's see, I've got Witchblade from Top Cow. Let's see, I've got Power Rangers from Boom Studios. I've got a new series from Boom later this fall that's an erotic horror miniseries called Gastronomique. And then I've got Odin with James Tynan and Letitia coming out from Image at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, this is where I'm going to, break the traditional form, because we're waiting on Andrew. Kyle, how difficult would it be to go completely out of order on this Image deck and jump to
ridiculously difficult, but we can do it.
All right, let's do it. So before we dive into the big book of Boom, I want to make sure Andrew's here. So let's talk about some of those amazing other items that you're doing. Odin is a crazy comic. This is the one comic I've had to constantly sell to my customers with a bit of a trigger warning because I don't want people not to be reading this. It is amazing, but it has some content and some characters that are not easy pills to swallow. Can you talk to us a little bit about Odin?
Oh, absolutely. So Odin arose from a conversation that James and I had years and years ago. So a little bit of backstory. James is my brother in comics, and Scott Snyder is our comics dad. We were both his students back in the day. So, very early on, Scott was like, okay, you need to meet James. This is your older brother, essentially. James has been looking out for me for almost 15 years. Like we've known each other for the entirety of our comics careers. And this is back before COVID, and we'd both seen Midsummer back when he was living in Los Angeles, and we got to talking about it, and the rise of white supremacy, and really the shape of the political landscape. And we were really interested in a story that didn't dance around the themes, but really delved into them as like the center and the meat of the story. And, so we just got to talking and spitballing, and it's like, I would love to see a story where, a bunch of these like, oh, can I cuss on this show? I'm sorry.
Kyle?
Go for it. You're Marguerite Bennett. You can cuss.
A bunch of like, these dipshit neo-Nazis, want to go to the great white waste and, call forth the great white god Odin. And they do. And they get to meet him. And it doesn't go the way that they think it's going to. And so that became, like our big, vicious Schadenfreude story. And, we were both very busy and we kicked it around, and a few, global things happened that got in the way. And but it finally came time, that we had a space to work on it, and we had the ability and the right artists lined up. And we'd been cooking it for so long, and really distilling it down until it was just absolutely venomous. And we've been having a wonderful time with it.
Venomous, I think, is a very appropriate word, because I can honestly say that these are not the protagonists I would ever think I'd want in a story. And, some of the words and the dialogue are triggering. They're horrifying to read. But in this story sucks you in. It is beyond brilliant. It makes me want so badly to read the next issue immediately.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
So is it as difficult writing this for you and James as it is to read?
It was very tricky. You really do have, I watched a lot of documentaries and a lot of media, on, these subcultures, and, saw a lot of complicity, especially even in the time back in, I guess, 2019, 2020, when we were watching, these subcultures be legitimized by mainstream media, these, sort of like tantalizing, character studies, where people would interview them and be like, but these neo-Nazis dress in khakis and they went to Ivy League schools, and, just were so like almost taken with them in a way that really disgusted me. And, it does certainly do a number on you, having to sort of like marinate in, the ugliest and most vile parts of human nature, in order to get a grip on these characters. And so I did have like YouTube kitten chasers like at the end of each day for writing. But on the other hand, it was, horror is a wonderful place, to sort of like vent that spleen and like, have the catharsis to get out like the anger and the disgust that you feel. And so, it really was, okay, we're going to have a death march with these awful characters and, give them what they deserve. And so there was sort of like a place of almost contamination, where it was like a feedback loop of like, I would watch these awful things about them and then I would do awful things to them. And with like, interstitial kitten chasers.
Right. So for anyone who's now completely sucked into this but hasn't already read it, Odin #1 has already come out and is sold out everywhere. It has a second printing that is on the way. The second printing will be in at the end of the month on June 24th. With issue #2 set to come out just a little bit before that on June 17th. So your stores can still go and place orders for the second printing #1. Maybe they have a #1 first print waiting for you. And if they do, grab it. But if you need that final push, Marguerite, what is the actual story? And who are we following in Odin?
So the way that James pitches it is like, so we all want to punch Nazis in the face. And so it is about a journalist named Adela, who's sort of trying to do her Hunter S. Thompson, gonzo journalism, deep undercover, and falls in with this group of neo-Nazis, who are heading on essentially a field trip, to a forest in Norway to try and commune with the supernatural and to bring the Norse gods back to our world. And, she's there trying to get, like the scoop and the story. And so the terror, is not only, what if the supernatural is real? Or the, oh God, we're all in over our head and can die of exposure at any moment because none of these fucks are prepared. And then also, what if she is discovered at any moment as a spy and a traitor? And so, with those three sharks circling her at all times, we have this descent into this arcane, primeval horror show, out of Norse mythology and modern mythology in a lot of ways. And anyway, it is, yes, it's not for the faint of heart. I was required, or excuse me, I was asked, and I have complied for my editors to put trigger warnings in each script, based off of some of the reference images that I was, adding for our artists. Anyway, but it is, if you love horror, if you want something extreme and hurtful, like, this is the place to have your moment of catharsis.
Are you saying that you triggered your artists?
I a little bit, but I learned to use the trigger warnings appropriately.
One of my favorite stories ever is John Romita Jr. working on Hit Girl, and Mark Millar would send him reference images, and his wife would go, "You're on a list now."
Yeah, yeah. No,
and I imagine that's true with Odin too.
And we haven't even gotten to the bad issues yet, or the issues where bad things happen. Like, but yeah, we're getting there.
I cannot express how odd it is to say I am so frightened and yet looking forward to it.
I'm thrilled. Yeah. People are very surprised. Like, forgive me, my house is still decorated for Easter, but it's like, oh, it's all this fluff and pastels. And then here's Marguerite going on and on about intestines.
I feel that's a lot of the writing we get from you, and it allows us to perfectly transition from this amazing image book to and it's impossible to say this, a lighter tone in the dark tale of Detective Sarah Pazzini and the Witchblade.
Yes.
I didn't think there was any possibility, and please don't take offense to this, that anyone could revive David Wohl, Brian Haberlin, Mark Silvestri, and Michael Turner's masterpiece that went on for over 150 issues with Witchblade. And yet you have me diving into this like it's brand new material. This is phenomenal. You have revitalized the Witchblade for the modern era.
That is so kind. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry I cut you off. And
no. I mean, honestly, you've done it. And I didn't think it was possible. So can you talk a little bit about the revival of Witchblade?
Oh, absolutely. Witchblade was one of those comics that I actually grew up on, going back to the 90s nostalgia. It was something that, I felt very strongly about. And Mark and I actually met, again, this is like right before COVID shut the world down. But it was in 2019 in November. And we were both going to the same show in Minneapolis, I believe. And we wound up just like sharing a car on the way to the hotel. And he actually told me, it was like, one of the reasons I'm at this show is to meet you and to talk to you and offer you this book. And, we talked about it in the car and we shook hands and made the deal right then and there. And, it was some years, with everything that happened before we could actually, return to the story and revitalize it. But it was something, that I was able to spend a lot of time percolating on, in those intervening months. And so, I came to it, with a lot of thoughts. Like, I wrote this like big Bible of like, okay, here's my take. Here are my feelings on it. These are the places that I think that we could go. These are the, ideas for armor or for different aesthetics that we could explore. And, I was very, very fortunate, that they, have been so supportive, have given me so much creative freedom and have been so very understanding for some of the very weird directions that I've gone with it. But I adore this team. I adore Mark, and it has been such a phenomenal experience.
Yes. So it's crazy because if you have ever read Witchblade in the 90s, 2000s onward, this is going to be familiar territory in brilliant ways. We're going to hit you obviously hit some of the key moments from the classic series in very new ways. But if you've never read Witchblade, which is a hard thing for me to believe, but I understand there's younger readers and all that, and not every one of us is as gray as I am. Marguerite, can you share who Sarah is, what is the story of Witchblade, and what we're about to see with the upcoming influence of Aphrodite?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sarah Pazzini begins, as this very, sort of classic hard-boiled New York detective, but she's very shut down emotionally. She takes no pleasure in her life. Her coffee is black. She's got the whiskey in the bottom drawer. She sort of reminds me, I think I described her as like a slat-ribbed alley cat, where she's just like, she's so obsessive and cold and distant. And like she winds up on this case that brings the Witchblade, just crashing down into her, soul, body, psyche. And And the Witchblade, as some fans may know and some fans may not, is this force of balance in creation. But it winds up, opening up, all of the nerves and all of, her perceptions and her senses and her body, and, really reawakens her almost in like, this goddess-like way. And, just really like, ruptures her senses, and, suddenly, she can, like feel vibrations and sense, and, she cares passionately, about things that she can't regulate. And, in a way, it's like, her body has been hijacked, like her body has been taken from her. And so now she has to, fight to reclaim it, and to, just determine how to use, her own body in the addition to this alien force, in order to, complete these quests and hunt down these, these evil people, and rescue people who have been victimized by them. And I'm sorry, I forgot the second half of the question.
So obviously we've had this incredible detective who has got this powerful force of order and balance. Now, Witchblade number 22 will be coming out next Wednesday on June 10th, but we're coming up on an FOC. In 1.5 weeks, June 15th, Witchblade 23, which is on screen, is on FOC. And for those long-term Top Cow fans, that is a familiar face of Aphrodite. Can you tell us what new or longtime readers and readers of the current series can expect with this new threat brought to Sarah's life?
If you want to talk about like, Sarah getting her shit rocked, like, Aphrodite has been like, she's like a bullet with a bow on it. I mean, she is exactly like the perfect thing to target Sarah, who's come, into this, very wounded and betrayed, after the first arc. And like, here's this person, who, she sees the whole world as new through Aphrodite's eyes, Aphrodite's memories being constantly reset. And so, she wants to protect her. She knows that she's dangerous. She wants to save her from herself. She wants to save her from other people. And so, Aphrodite is just like the perfect kryptonite, to cut out Sarah's heart. I can't remember which issue we reveal what things. But you will discover, like the puppet master, behind Aphrodite, and, the devastating consequences that are going to come out at the end of this arc in issue 24.
Oh, man. So if you haven't checked it out, Witchblade currently has trade paperbacks available. Reach out to your local comic shop and catch up on Witchblade. Pick up issue 22 when it hits this coming Wednesday. Issue 23, FOCs, June 15th. You do not want to miss it. Same story with Odin. Odin issue number 1 is already out. Second printing will be out at the end of the month, with issue number 2 hitting on June 17th. So get those incredible books. But Marguerite, you are not solo. Much like one of the books you're writing, you are part of a team, and we have to bring on your incredible artist for your newest book coming from Boom Studios. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 1 just hit stands this past Wednesday, and we have the incredible interior artist Andrew Lee Griffith here with us.
Hey, hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi, we haven't actually met before. Like,
I know, forgive me. This is our very first time. We've been emailing, but that's about it.
Yeah, we've never interacted before like this. And it's funny to come in on Witchblade. Like, one of my very first professional jobs years ago was doing sketch cards for Witchblade.
That's delightful.
So I haven't worked in the comics yet, but maybe one day.
There it is. Well, maybe this could be the connection.
There you go.
So, Marguerite, Andrew, you guys took on another hard and very nostalgic task of revitalizing a team of Sentai warriors who have been around since the early 90s. And the thing I think I love most about your guys' approach is you didn't reset it. This is not a relaunch of the Power Rangers from the beginning, but it does feature our classic heroes. Can you tell us all a little bit about what hit stands this past Wednesday?
They've been hearing me chatter on for a hot minute now, so if you'd like to answer, please go ahead.
That sounds like more like a you question, though.
Oh, dear. All right,
I mean, I came in,
please.
with the story that Marguerite had written up. So, yeah, I do feel like that's more of a you question. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to answer it, but or try.
Yeah, so my big pitch for Power Rangers. Okay, so a little bit of backstory. My brother and I grew up on Power Rangers. Our mom had to get up very early for work, and so we get to watch it, at the 6 a.m. slot, as opposed to the kids who are getting to watch it after school. So we knew what episode was going to come out that day, and so we were very, very, very hip. And we adored it. It was, like, I think our dad took us to our brother's birthday to see the Power Rangers movie. Like, it was a big part of our childhood. And so when they offered me the chance to write the main series, I was happy as a clam in high water. Like, I could not have been more pleased, and or said yes more quickly. And so but out of that love, for the canon and the lore, like, I didn't want to restart the series at all or try and reinvent the wheel. I was very invested in the work that the other writers and creators have done, in the 30-year history, frankly, now. And so what I really wanted to do, though, was sort of throw open like a big sort of like Baptist revival tent of like, okay, if you love the lore, if you're a brand new writer, if you're someone who grew up on it, or if you're, a parent with young kids who wants to get into it, like, this is a jumping on place for you. This is the big welcome mat. And so, it begins, even if you've just seen Day of the Dumpster, that's all you need. But this was, the Power Rangers, are now like 10 years removed, from the day that they were first brought in by Zordon. And, in that time, a lot of them have retired from being Rangers. They've gone on to live, successful civilian lives. And when they're recalled, it's no longer like, okay, we're in high school, someone else is paying the rent, someone else is handling the bills, all we have to worry about is schoolwork and Power Rangering. But in this case, Zach is a defense attorney, and he's right in the middle of a trial when he's brought back. Kimberly has this whole gymnastics career. Like, Trini has a very large, change of life. But there's a lot going on, and now their responsibilities, seem tenfold, in addition to their superheroic calling. Now it's also like, okay, well, we have to find a place to live, and we have to pay rent, and we have to worry about our jobs and our relationships and our families. And so I just thought it would be, like a really welcoming way to bring in all comers, new and old, and, give everybody a chance to like remember how much they adore Power Rangers.
And Andrew, you had a very difficult task because you had to age up these classic characters that many of us grew up on or have watched through various streaming services and the like, while still making them the identifiable and recognizable people we grew up with. Mm-hmm. So how did you go about this task?
Well, it's funny, like that's the thing I get most asked about lately at shows or online is like, why did you redesign them? And like, so the approach was, at least from my point of view, was to show that some time had passed. There's been so many different iterations of this franchise that there's no reason I didn't see that they should have to look exactly the same. And the editors at Boom wanted that as well. They wanted to shake it up a little bit, but also maintain the classic look. So they still have like the original helmets and the basic colors and everything. It's definitely meant to really stay true to the original take on them that we were introduced to in the West, without mixing it up too much. So we tried a few passes of it, went back and forth with editorial and Hasbro, and seemed to settle on a place that we're all pretty happy with. I do remember when it first got announced I was going to be on this, I was in Japan for a show, and a friend of mine there is a huge fan of anything Sentai, anything Power Rangers. He was super excited that I was going to be working on this, and I was like, well, do you have any advice, anything you want to see, or being a fan of the franchise for so long, anything I should keep in mind? He's like, well, keep in mind, like when you guys first got introduced to it, that was just one version of it for us, like to you guys, that was like the original start. He's like, so whatever you do, just don't do the same thing we've seen before. Just give us something a little bit different. So I did have that in mind too.
Yeah, I mean, and it's amazing because you can see right here just the difference in aging, and there's the big twist with Trini right there. But the vast moment of just a single image aging these characters so wonderfully that a whole story is shown in just a single page.
Well, that was the other thing too, is like, we weren't supposed to use likenesses. So I kind of went through and looked at like older comics and how they were drawn and tried to keep in mind how they might look if they're, 10 years older, but kind of the way that they'd been drawn before in comics. So that was kind of my approach to it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I just draw it. It's hard to like put it into words. You know?
No, absolutely. But you're also not the only artist I want to point out on this. And just like the Power Rangers have to gather the whole team to make the wonderful Megazord, I have to bring in the other artists working on this. So without further ado, we also have to bring in Philip Sevy.
Hey,
Hey,
how's everybody doing?
hello. We also haven't met.
Yeah.
So, Philip, you are going to be coming on, I want to say, with issue number 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Correct. Yeah, we are kind of tag teaming. I've got issues 3 and 4 are my first 2 issues.
Yeah, I believe you're actually working on issue 4 right now, finishing up the last page.
Drawing the last page right now. So I will just pop in for a few to say hi and talk about it. Then I got to go finish up so my editors are happy.
Always important.
So how does this work with both you and Andrew on the book?
You want to take it, or we're kind of just finding that actually. We're just kind of like settling into it. But
yeah, I think Andrew had been working on the book for a little bit when I came on. You had drawn the free comic book day issue, had the designs ready, and I think we're starting on issue 1. So I was just looking at the designs that Andrew had done and kind of figuring out, were there anything else that needed to be designed, some like casual looks, clothing, stuff like that, and then just jumping into issue 3 and seeing what he'd already done before, kind of what I could, continue to push forward, and other things that I was establishing there, and making sure there was hopefully clear enough design sheets for him to be able to reference going forward. So basically, we've just got good editors, and the two of us can good editors and a writer who's writing like 2 or 3 scripts at once at all times in order to keep us fed and busy. So I think the rest is up to everyone else.
And yeah, that does help. We have a great team. Everybody's been so great to work with so far. I have no complaints. Everybody's just been amazing. And likewise, I'm about to start issue 5 like on Monday. So I'm going to be looking at everything that Phil's done. So so far, it's working well, but I haven't quite dove into working from what Phil's done, but I'm assuming it's going to go well.
I guess we'll find out. And to adding to the team, we've got Josh Jensen and Ed Dukeshire coloring and lettering every issue. So there's a nice consistency with that team there, helping make sure everything very congeals well.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys, art-wise, definitely come from backgrounds that are familiar to Power Rangers. Andrew, obviously, coming from other classic nostalgia forms like Transformers, and Philip doing the X-Men. Do you feel that your work in previous pieces have helped allow you to, just unbelievably encapsulate the 90s feel of the Power Rangers while modernizing it?
You want to go first?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think one of the things most helpful in coming from the background is when you're drawing X-Men, it's basically, regardless of what title it is, you're drawing a team book always. I was always drawing 3 to 5 to 7 to 8 characters in every page. So thankfully that was a nice training grounds, because similarly with Power Rangers, you've got a team of at least 5 Rangers and then friends who are not Rangers, and sometimes a couple villains. Like there were pages I was drawing in issues like 4 where I was drawing like 30 and 40 people on double page spreads. And I was like, oh man, if I hadn't been accustomed to drawing so many people constantly, this would be even more challenging than it already is.
I salute you.
There were times where I was like, Marguerite. No, I'm kidding.
I
You're fine.
I try to get on the phone, before we begin, to be like, okay, is there anything that you never want to see from me? How comfortable are you with double page spreads? Like, how do you feel about horses and cars and spiral staircases?
Yeah, I love doing spreads and splash pages and stuff. But there were a few times where I'm like, wow, how many more crystals am I going to have to draw or try to hint at? When you're drawing little tiny crystals from a distance, it's basically little dots and stuff. But that was a bit of a challenge. And I came from a background of cutting my teeth on Transformers and stuff. So for many years I was doing casts of hundreds. There's hundreds of characters that can pop up at any time, and drawing like Dinobots and Combiners and stuff. So like the Zords and the Megazords they feel very familiar to me, and I feel like that's something that I've got a lot of experience with, that kind of drawing. And then I worked on G.I. Joe for a while with Larry Hama's book, and that's got hundreds of characters too. So I'm kind of like Philip. I'm also used to drawing large casts of characters and different people, and trying to keep track of what everybody looks like. And yeah, it's just something you get experience with, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
you
and
bring up
after
a very big point on this, the Zords. It feels like the three of you have brought more Zords to the Power Rangers comics than we've seen in the last few years of Boom Studios Power Rangers. Was that intentional, and where is that going?
I mean, I'm a sucker for the Zords. I love the Zords. I held on to my Zords far longer than was age appropriate. So that's on me. Forgive me. And it was like, there was some concern about like, well, aren't you worried about it being kind of over the top? And it was like, I remember there's this, was it Gore Verbinski? But he's, an actress had complained on the set, like, isn't this kind of over the top? It's like, darling, no one pays to see under the top. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and I remember after I saw issues 1 and 2, Andrew's work, I was like, oh, let's give all the Zord issues to Andrew. He's so much better at drawing robots than I am. He's got that experience with Transformers.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like drawing Dinobots, but they're challenged because they don't have that much mobility to them. So it's a challenge to make them dynamic and try to like show that they're moving and doing things, and not to spoil anyone. And thank you. Not to spoil too much, but like there's a scene with like the T-Rex one where it's swinging its tail and then it falls over, and so it's trying to show that movement and also trying to show that it's like stumbling and rusty, and that they're rusty piloting them. So it's a bit of a challenge. So hopefully I pulled it off, but yeah, I did struggle a bit with their lack of mobility. They're kind of like the old blocky Transformers that you can't like do anything with them. They just kind of look cool.
Gotta stretch those muscles.
So issue number 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers hit this past Wednesday. Viewers can go to their local comic shop right now and hopefully still grab it, but it's sold out at the distribution level and likely quick to sell out at the store level. So there's a second printing on FOC this Monday. And furthermore, issue number 2. So one thing I want to discuss that I normally never get to discuss on the FOC show is a little bit of the ending of issue number 1. You have 5 incredible Rangers on the cover of all of these. But there's one key Ranger of the 90s that is beloved and missing. Can we talk a little bit about him?
I mean, we can. I can't answer you but so much, but we can talk about him.
Okay. The beloved Green Ranger, Tommy. Are we going to see him in this book?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so we can definitively say that.
Yes,
All right.
So at the end of issue 1, I don't know what you're talking about.
There it is. Okay. As long as I wasn't
saying that or not.
well in the end. Philip got to do that. All right.
I mean, that's like a little tease. Like it's out there everywhere.
Yeah, what was the thought process in not having that be right there on the forefront? Obviously, since Boom gained the Power Rangers, Tommy and the Green Ranger has been a huge piece there.
Yeah.
What was the thought process in hiding him a little bit in this, and what can we say about Tommy?
Well, I really wanted for the folks who know Power Rangers, if you're called back into this, I want the readers to go through the same process that the Rangers are going through. Where the hell is Tommy? We're in danger. Where is our friend? Why hasn't he come when we called? And that is going to be have a lot of reverberations through the course of the story. But yeah, like that. I mean, I'm not trying to harp on it, but it is a central mystery, for why he hasn't returned and where he is and what he's up to.
Awesome. So it's that reminder. You guys need to go track down issue number 1 on stores. Like I get to actually hold it for an interview on Final Order Cutoff for once. Go track this down. That last page is a hit. You're going to want issue number 2. It seems to be everything Marguerite, writes. It's you get to the end and you're like, why is the next issue not already in my hand? I can't do that with issue number 2.
Leaves you wanting.
You have the opportunity to reach out to your local comic shop and demand it right now. And maybe we might get some of the answers in Andrew or Philip's upcoming issues.
Well, I just want to say quick, like, that's the second most popular question I've been getting. Like, where's Tommy? Because everybody says, why did you change the costumes? And then the next question is just, where's the Green Ranger? Where's Tommy? I'm like, just have patience. Read the book.
Yeah.
You got to read the book.
I say never have patience. That's what your local comic shop is there for, to go and annoy and say, I need the next issue, because by telling them that, they guarantee it is ordered for you and waiting when it does release.
I meant patience in terms of the story, so don't be patient in terms of going to the store.
No patience for your local comic shop, patience for your comic creators. That's the key always.
So you mentioned it a little bit, but I think one of my favorite things, reading through issue 1 as it was coming in and then understanding kind of the downstream effects is, obviously, people are asking where's Tommy, but I think the coolest reveal, the coolest connection to continuity, the coolest one where I was like, oh, here we go. And you've already mentioned it was Trini's daughter Min coming into the series, which I was like, oh, that's the real twist of the first issue, is not that, like, where's Tommy? That's an obvious question. The real twist is like, oh shit, they brought Min in. And that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, so really quickly before I let you guys go, can we talk about the intensity, not only in writing but art, of having aged these characters? These are no longer these young, spry teenagers that can take on any physical task. But on top of that, they have the complexity of, as Marguerite said earlier, having to pay bills, having to be a parent where your kid is something you need to constantly think of when you're fighting these alien threats, as well as just everything that comes with adulthood and those complexities. I did not load that question properly. So, let me ask this. How is that taken in when writing and drawing these? These are not just the simplicity of youthful teenagers. How do you depict these things when you're drawing these aged characters? How do you define these as you're writing these concepts, where it's not the simplicity of just grabbing your morphing coin, getting into a skin-tight outfit, and fighting a multi-eyed alien?
Y'all want to go first?
I guess we take it from experience, I mean, we've all been in our 20s and trying to find our place in the world and paying the bills and trying to figure out what we want to do with our lives and trying to establish ourselves as adults. Issue 5, I'm not going to give anything away, but starts out with a sequence set in a place which kind of like it is more in line with what my wife does for work. So I was just asking her in the car today, I'm like, so if the script says it looks like this, like would it look more, I don't know how to say it without giving anything away, but the location of where she might show up for a job is more relevant. So I like, just taking from what you know in life and like finding reference and inspiration and treating them like real people and trying to put them in situations that feel real. With comics, like, it doesn't have to be entirely realistic, but it has to be convincing. It has to be like a believable environment that you're telling a story in. So I don't know. Does that answer the question at all? Or I
think it definitely gets part of it. But I'm curious, like, as the comments Rena said, how do you depict and how do you write the doing a flip followed by "ow, my back hurts"?
I like to think the suits absorb some of that, but
yeah.
No, I had some really fun conversations with everyone, just further developing like casual style outside of like their initial clothing. They're set in like who is where, what have they been doing, what are kind of their stylistic choices, who has maybe had some life lessons that has caused them to shift and change the way they approach their identity and how they see themselves in clothing. And like, Zach's a lawyer, so what do casual clothes for someone in that profession working in the specific type of law that he looks like? And what about Billy? And what about Kimberly and Jason? And I think we had a lot of conversations about how Trini would be dressing as a new mom and looking at a lot of contemporary fashion that works with kids and toddlers and infants. And yeah, like I think Ari, who's the assisting on editorial on the book, her and I had this gigantic email chain of like a million references and ideas and thoughts, and it was really fun to go back and forth. And obviously everyone else was chiming in along the way, but that was to me a real fun way to be like, how can we represent the age of 10 years and the change in profession and mindsets and experience, and how that shows forth in the clothes they wear, because they'll be in costumes half the time. The other half of the time, they're just in regular clothes. And turns out drawing comics, you draw people in regular clothes like 95% of the time. So that becomes like some of the most important costume design that I approach when I think about stuff.
Yeah, you really did a good job like exploring their characters with all that. When I started, like, the scripts were pretty specific with what they were wearing, you know, so I just kind of like went with what was right there in the script, but still had to get it approved, and everybody had to be on board with it and everything too. So
yeah,
I'm hoping as we go along that we can treat them like real people and have them in different outfits and like express their personalities and not just look like Charlie Brown going to the closet and always having the same outfit, you know?
Yep, hopefully so.
But I mean, I think that was a defined part, though, of, you know, early Power Rangers. Is every one of those kids looked like they just grabbed whatever was on the mannequin at JCPenney's or Sears and, you know, went into the smoothie shop and, you know, had their conversations that epitomized the 90s. And it is very cool seeing a vast array right off the bat in issue number 1 of outfits that do seem to match people who have moved on in life.
Yeah,
I mean, between now and then. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was done. I think this is kind of what we're all going for. But go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say, but between now and then, Kmart's all closed down, so I don't know. All the original Power Rangers got all their clothes there.
Where do
They had to go to new stores.
Yeah, it is sad that everything we have said no longer seems to exist in the 2020s.
Yeah, I mean, I was, you know, there's a sort of like a haunting symmetry. Like, you know, when I first got into Power Rangers, I was 10 years younger than the age of the characters at the time. And now that I'm writing them, as they've moved on 10 years, I am 10 years older than what I'm even writing the aged version to be.
Well,
there it is. But hopefully still very, very exciting to be working on as we bring a new relevance to a new audience and a aging and nostalgic fan base.
Absolutely.
So as we continue on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue number 2 and the second printing number 1 on FOC this week, it is a monthly series, and I imagine there's no end in sight.
I mean, I got ambitions.
yeah, I'm having a lot of fun on it, so I'm not planning on leaving anytime soon.
Yep.
All right. So as the series continues, where can everyone track you guys down online so they can learn about all the new plans and tell you how much they love Power Rangers?
I've been off social media for 10 years, so you know, y'all go ahead and answer.
I'm on like most social media as Glove Studios. Just that was like my freelance like graphic design company name. I just kind of kept it for my social media stuff. So Instagram, any place like that, just look up Glove Studios or my name, you'll find me. And I go to a lot of like conventions and stuff. So this weekend I'll be at Lehigh Valley Comic Con in Atlanta. Next weekend I'll be at Heroes Con in Charlotte. So yeah, in between drawing issues, I'm traveling to shows and stuff.
Yeah, and my goal is to be like Marguerite and get off social media. But for the meantime, I'm Instagram is Philip Sevy Comic Art and Blue Sky is Philip Sevy. Those are the 2 places you'll find me. I'm doing San Diego Comic Con this year and maybe New York. I haven't done cons for a few years. I've just, you know, have other things happening in life that have taken me away. But those ones I'll be at San Diego for sure. So we'll see what I can build into my schedule for next year. But mainly just drawing Power Rangers. So.
All right. And Marguerite, are you going to be doing any upcoming conventions?
Unfortunately, like not to dump my purse out, but like COVID destroyed my lungs, and so about 5 years ago, so I actually haven't done any shows since COVID. You know, and if I did, I would probably be masked, and it would, you know, I'd be the specter at the feast. But like, I'll see. You know, I would love for them to discover like the amazing single pill that will, you know, like restore everything, and I will be the belle of the ball, and at every show, you know, from here to the end of time. So.
Well, thankfully, we can still at least enjoy your brilliant writing across the board at Image, Top Cow, and Boom, if not more, with, I think, some hints of other publishing pieces coming up, right?
But only
all
hints.
Right. Well, I thank all 3 of you for joining us. I am certain stores will be slammed with orders on this. And again, you can grab issue number 1 right now at your local comic shop. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is back with a force. Thank you guys all for joining us this week.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right. And with that, we have a lot of other books that we have to talk about on Final Order Cutoff this Monday. So I got to drag Kyle back so we can head on over to prhcomics.com and view all the incredible books that are on FOC this Monday, June 8th.
You mean I can't just keep making jokes about the Billy and the Blue Light Special?
I mean, you can, but it'll get really off topic as we start diving into amazing books like Aliens versus Captain America. So let's dive directly in. Frank Thierry, Stefano Raphael brought us a great 5-issue miniseries where the Xenomorphs took on the man that defined a country and all sorts of wonderful morals. Captain America has to take on the face huggers and more. And look, if you're going to have a collected edition for this book, nothing better than that iconic propaganda style poster reminding us the Xenomorphs want us even more than America wants you. So 5-issue miniseries, $16 trade paperback, and it's sold out so incredibly quick. I am happy to have this trade on the shelves.
Is it weird that this makes me want to have a crawfish boil?
It definitely doesn't make me want to eat such shellfish. All right. Going for another great one, I am excited on FOC this week. Faith Aaron Hicks is bringing us brand new tale set in the Avatar The Last Airbender universe once again, with a focus not on Aang and the Avatar, but on 3 young rebels. Yes, we're finally getting the origin for Jet and the rebels and rhinos. I am really excited because this is not characters I thought I needed more story on, but I am excited to pick up. So a brand new graphic novel from the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, along with Faith Aaron Hicks. Interior art by Peter Wartman. This is going to be a fun one. And Dark Horse has a lot of this great stuff because nostalgia seems to be the vibe of modern comics, and I am not complaining. Then, continuing on, Black Cat and Frank Castle, aka Punisher's crossover. These covers are only getting better and better, but I cannot wait to finally have G. Willow Wilson's epic team up I never thought I needed on stands. Black Cat 11 as well as Punisher will be coming out soon with this crossover, but we have to FOC the second part already, and there are some phenomenal covers on this. I mean,
listen, there have been people who for years have been like Batman and Catwoman, and who should Black Cat, maybe Black Cat and Spider-Man should be a couple. No, this is the couple we deserve. Black Cat and Punisher. This is what we've earned. If you're not happy, you should have bought different Marvel comics, because this is the couple we deserve. And I'll be real honest, I'm here for it.
Oh, I mean, look, everyone was talking about issue number 11's J. Scott Campbell cover. I cannot wait for it to come out. Don't get me wrong there, but Casanova's incredible cover right there of Black Cat and Punisher. I love the black and white angled cross on there. Everything about this has me so excited to see what G. Willow Wilson's going to bring us.
Well, I really want them to do a noir version where it is a black and white variant. Yeah, the whole book is in black and white as opposed to in color with these two characters. I think it's a home run.
Absolutely. Then for an all ages approach, which is not what we got on Black Cat, Captain Danger and the Time Ghost. Look, Dave Pilkey brought us enough heroes in underpants, but clearly it's not enough for every kid, as this new book just looks ridiculous. Definitely an all ages younger reader book, but Captain Danger. Look, sometimes that's all you need is a cowl and your briefs.
So this is Pushkin Press, which is actually I'm going to blank on what's his name, Malcolm Gladwell's publishing company.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that the people it's coming from are some of the best book people out there.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, great hardcover approach. I don't believe there's a soft cover on this. No, it goes straight to hardcover, but nevertheless, this just looks fun. For you Daredevil fans, you know these TV variants have been blowing up. They've been selling out. Everyone wants them. So, of course, we had to get to the main man in the villainous form, the Kingpin himself on a born-again variant. But Stephanie Phillips and Lee Garbett have just been hitting issue after issue of sold-out masterpieces. I don't think I've ever seen Daredevil sell this well. And this has me beyond excited. So this is the cover to grab as issue number 4 hits FOC this Monday. Then, for those of you guys who have been loving the Disney tie-ins, obviously Nightmare Before Christmas is coming strong with the Dynamite series, an upcoming Tokyo Pop comic we just had Joshua Pruitt talking about last week, and it's been all over press over the last few days. If you have a young reader who is discovering Nightmare as well as reading, this is a great alphabet piece for you, but let's be honest, this is going to go to a lot of adults. Adults sometimes just need that reminder of fun, and the alphabet book is going to be the way to do this. So, Nightmare Before Christmas, ABCs. Speaking of Tokyo Pop fun, Tokyo Pop is bringing back their Alice in Wonderland manga with a special edition hardcover collecting it all. So that will be another great way to go from June Abe. I think this is awesome because that is the most haunting I have ever seen the caterpillar. Then, as we're talking about classic reprints, as we prepare for the 3rd film in the Dune film series that are hitting theaters, it's time to remind ourselves that fear is the mind killer, as I have tattooed on my arm. A new softcover edition with sprayed edges and the classic litany against fear depicted on the side. We have Frank Herbert's Dune back because, at least from my perspective, you can appreciate the films all you want, but nothing will ever beat Frank Herbert's classic novels. So, new softcover edition of Dune with sprayed edges. It's just going to be beautiful. And yet, that's not your pick of the week, is it, Kyle?
Not at all.
We'll slowly make our way to your pros pick of the week. But the next big one I got to talk about. Oh, go ahead.
I will mention that anybody who's watched the EXP a long time knows how I feel about Dune and knows how I feel about a certain author who took over for Frank Herbert at some point. And therefore, I am not a Dune fan.
Really? Okay, well, we can just be on opposing sides of what is truly right and what is wrong on that one.
Oh, Frank Herbert was great. It's somebody who took over after Frank Herbert that ruined Dune for me.
All right. We'll disagree with you on that too, but let's talk about really quick something we can all agree on. This is a brilliant cover design. Dungeons and Dragons Total Party Killers is a new miniseries from Christopher Hastings set in our wonderful realm of dice rolling Dungeons and Dragons adventures. And this cover, I think, is beyond brilliant. It's not the first time we've had a character sheet cover, but it is one of the first times you can open order at your local comic shop a D&D character sheet cover on a proper paper. So you can use this for your actual D&D character sheet or whatever else you want to do. I think this is a great item to bring to conventions. I know at IDW there was a Rick and Morty D&D blank cover like this where Tess Fowler did some amazing character sheets for the Rick and Morty characters. But this is your opportunity. Order up big on this. You need one for every character and every D&D adventure you're getting. The stat spots are there. The spot to have your favorite artist or even yourself depict your character is there. And this is also going to be a fun interior story because Total Party Killers gives us the opportunity to have the crazy D&D adventures that you rarely get depicted in comic form. This is going to be the over-the-top, kill your members' tales. So Christopher Hastings, definitely the person to bring this to.
When we were at Comics Pro, Stuart was telling us about this. And he and I were talking. I go, look, man, a lot of times people make these and you can't use them. They're not right. They don't actually work. You got to make sure that this one actually works. And they did a phenomenal job here of making this, again, with that paper stock of being a usable character sheet. It's one thing to throw a character sheet on the cover, but if you can't write on the cover with a pencil because it's not the what's the looking for? It's not the right cover stock. It's too glossy. You can't use it. So
Yeah,
when they announced that this was going to be that heavier character, that heavier stock, I was stoked.
Yeah, this is going to be great. I mean, honestly, this is definitely worth stores stocking up, and I definitely think, players, this is something to put in your hands because this is the coolest way you could have a character sheet. Plus, if you put it in a bag and board, I want to point out you can use a dry erase marker on the bag and board for your character sheet adjustments and just wipe them off like you would a whiteboard. Or it's not like bags are that expensive. You can always put a bag on, Sharpie it if you need, and then toss the bag as you level up and get a new bag. But fun ways to do it. Or just, go straight into it. Pencil on the comic cover. Not something I ever thought I'd say, but you can totally use it. Pencil on cardstock. You can erase it and redo it. Buy a few copies. All right. The Fantastic Four movie will not let up, as will Ryan North not give up the Fantastic Four. But Fantastic Four First Foes sets itself in the MCU once again with another comic there, focusing this time on Shalabal, the Silver Surfer of our MCU universe. Ryan North continuing his Fantastic Four fame and bringing Charles Soule in for more fun there. Then I think it's finally time we talk about one, not your main, but one of two pros picks of the week that Kyle's bringing.
So, okay, I'm going to take Matthias off screen for a minute because I'm bogarting the show. We do these pros picks of the week every week, and I talk about why I would buy these books or why I think they're worth picking up. But I wanted to show you guys, like, this was my pros pick of the week a few weeks back, Dirty 20, which I actually just finished this morning. This is a really good book that you can get at your local comic shop through PRH. It's a great D&D mob family revenge. It's got solid D&D gameplay in it that, again, I mentioned on this show. Pick it up at your local comic shop. But then there were two others. We'll start with Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinniman, which was one of my first pros picks of the weeks when we started doing the pros pick of the week and calling it that. Matt Dinniman's Operation Bounce House. This book, again, very good future space sort of lit RPG sort of story, but more video gamey. Really fun story that you can get at your local comic shop as well through Penguin Random House. And then this was an obvious pick, and it actually came out the same week as Dirty 20, but this is a Parade of Horribles. So this is the Dungeon Crawler Carl book 8. Guys, this is like the number one selling book on Audible, number one selling book on Amazon, number one selling book in a lot of local comic shops. And when I say book, I mean book. Not graphic novel, not trade, not comic book, but book. So make sure, when we talk about these pros picks of the week, I'm not just doing it because like I'm trying to be like, I read books. No, it's because these are books I think you're going to enjoy and I think are going to have a spot in your local comic shop. So this week, our pros pick of the week is this book called, one of our pros picks of the week is The Finest Edge of Twilight by R.A. Salvatore. And the Finest Edge of Twilight is a Dungeons and Dragons adventure, but it's Drizzt and Cotty Bree's daughter trying to find her own legacy, trying to find her own way in the world. So if you're thinking about these characters who are well-known, well-loved characters in the Dungeons and Dragons pantheon, this is their offspring. And the big line from this is, my name is not Drizzt's daughter. And I know I just said Drizzt's daughter, but not, my name is not Drizzt's daughter. When your parents are famous and you're trying to carve out your own way, what does that look like? And this is a great adventure story following Breezy, who is more than just the heir of her parents. She is in her own right a legendary hero. So it's Breezy finding her own way and sort of fighting through that legacy, as it were, of her parents. So I think this is going to be fun, especially if you're somebody who's followed Dungeons and Dragons, followed Dungeons and Dragons lore, and is interested in what the next generations of D&D would look like.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Drist, so like getting to see his legacy continue on, like I know the line again is it's not Drist's daughter, but it's Drizzt's daughter, so I'm excited to see her define and move the story forward. I mean, R.A. Salvatore, always a brilliant author.
Right. But to end kind of my whole thing, guys, if I recommend a book for the Rose Pick of the Week, I'm buying that book. Like, this is not me just going, go buy it. I am buying that book already. So.
All right. So it has been Hoth cold for fans of Galactic, as we had a massive gap between issue number 1 and issue number 2, due purely to Distillery having their hard transition from Diamond over to Penguin Random House. But they're there. Things have settled. Distillery is back, and Kurt Piers of Lost Fantasy, Fireborn, 51, and other fame is back with the second issue. And of course, it's homaging. Now, issue number 1 homaged A New Hope. Issue number 2, of course, homaging Empire Strikes Back. I love it. There's a number of incredible covers for this, but if you want more of Kurt Piers' incredible sci-fi fantasy, this is him doing it. Look, Kurt, in my opinion, takes some of my favorite things from geek cultures, mashes them together, and puts out some incredible comics, whether it's Lost Fantasy or Fireborn. Now we have Galactic issue number 2. I have been waiting for this for ages. I cannot wait to get this on FOC and eventually in my hands. So great fun there.
You said Hoth cold.
Hoth cold. Yeah. Oof. I mean,
I don't know if I'll ever forgive you for that.
Lives, it might be Hoth cold right now up in Calgary.
I'm just saying, I don't know that I'll ever forgive you for that joke.
It's okay. Here's one that shocks me. Chris Claremont is back. It shouldn't shock me that he has returned to the X-Men and the characters he made amazing, uncanny, extraordinary, and then some. But he is back on Gambit with the new miniseries Gambit Wanted. Has a ton of incredible covers. I love these Phil Noto Wanted posters, of which there are 2 different variations. So please let your local comic shop know whether you want the Phil Noto Wanted B cover or Wanted A cover. But yes, the Gentleman Thief, what was the adjective we used for him? The something Cajun, criminal Cajun, the kickin' Cajun, the black.
I don't know, but going back to, I think we need to have a crawfish boil.
Yeah. At this point, I'm in. Let's have some incredible Cajun cookout time. I can't find a third C word for this, but Gambit, he's back. He's got Chris Claremont in him. Everything about this is exciting, and somebody in the comments had to have gotten me on like where it was.
I don't know. I just keep hearing the voice from the Deadpool movie, and the fact that he had to be subtitled. Going, yep, I want a whole Gambit book where every time he talks, it's subtitled.
Well, I mean, obviously we have X-Men 97 coming up with season 2, and there could be some statement there. But if you need a little bit more Gambit Wanted is going to be the way for it. All right, for something entirely different. Girl Meets Rock, awesome new 7 Seas manga from Kuwahali and Tetsuo Iriuchi. This is going to be a fun one. Very School of Rock bit of humor and enjoyment with a good female twist. Then, for those of you who thought Godzilla couldn't do enough in the Marvel Universe, he has taken on all of your favorite heroes. He has given an infinity roar, and now he's going on to take on the entire multiverse. Godzilla conquers the multiverse, as Gary Dugan has proven he is not done with this massive kaiju. I don't think I need to say more. It's more Godzilla versus Marvel. Then Matt Wagner returns to his classic heroes with the newest Grendel, Devil's Crucible, Sedition. I didn't think we'd ever
feel
get
like-
more Matt Wagner Grendel, and I am not complaining that we finally are.
I feel like not enough people know about Matt Wagner's Grendel and how good it is, and how, again, far back and far-reaching this story is. From the whole, in the whole Beowulf pantheon, right? Like,
Yeah.
his version of Grendel is really fun, and it's a ton of great books and a ton of great storytelling. And I just feel like it doesn't get the love it deserves.
Yeah. And you gotta love Brendan Wagner on colors with Matt. So definitely exciting to see more of this. I love that Matt's keeping all in the family. I think we have to be over 30 years of Grendel at this moment in time.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah. So, but brand new series, and knowing Matt, this will be an easy approach where if you've never read Grendel, which is a absolute disservice to your love of comics, if that's the case for you, this is your chance. You can just dive right in. All right. Kyle, I feel that you wanted to get back on camera and talk more about prose.
Well, I mean, yeah, this is one of those weeks where I couldn't actually pick a prose novel of the week. And I was leaning towards a Salvatore Dungeons and Dragons book, and then I saw this Delilah S. Dawson book, The House of Idol. And like, if you don't remember Delilah S. Dawson, or you don't know who Delilah is, they wrote Bloom. They've written Guillotine, and Monstera, which comes out at the end of the year, is something that I'm equally as excited about as House of Idol. So, House of Idol is a story of rock stars, sinister cults, a magical oasis where dreams come true for a price. The main character, Angelina, is a struggling singer-songwriter and gets a chance to go away to like a songwriting compound to work with other people and one of the most famous bands in the world. But with her every need accommodated, will she be able to make better music, find her muse, or will it wind up costing her everything? This to me feels like a lot like The Beauty, if instead of physical appearance, it was about you're being a rock star, being an artist. This is what The Beauty meets Almost Famous.
Wow. If you could have ever found two ways to combine things that just gets my 100% attention, The Beauty meets Almost Famous. I'm curious about the Band-Aids in this.
But that's what this reads. That's what this feels like. The couple of preview pages I was able to find on the internet really do kind of have this, again, dark, twisted fantasy feel, but also a level of, okay, you see it in real life with these creator houses, right, where these content creators all live in a house, and they make, everything's taken care of. All they have to do is make their content. But is it really as simple as that, or is there more to the story?
Yeah. Well, the blood on the cover definitely gives me, the belief that there's more to it. And I do love that incredible quote from Sadie on there: a heady cocktail of dreams, desire, and danger. So soft cover on FOC this week with hardcover currently available. House of Idol by Delilah S. Dawson. You can't go wrong with Delilah S. Dawson. I really feel that. Like, we both were discussing it before the show that,
Yeah.
that
Bloom
is
is one of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for this.
All right. Something for all ages, but well worth the attention. Simbi is getting his own title. Simbi first appeared in the recent run of of Joe Kelly's Amazing Spider-Man, and has made his way to the animated series on Disney Junior's Spidey and His Amazing Friends. Now the incredible Jacob Chabot and Mackenzie Cadenhead are bringing Simbi to his own title, and well-deserved. I mean, this is a character I feel up there with Jeff the Land Shark that has just taken away and bloomed into so much more. In fact, Jeff appearing on the Logan Lubera cover there. But Symbi, our beautiful little symbiote, is going to, steal so much with this. I cannot wait. Yep.
Can I tell you, my 5-year-old nephew has his first pull list because of this book.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. This is definitely one that I just feel stores need to order up on. Fans need to let their stores know they want, especially depending on the cover. I think the Spidey and His Amazing Friends cover is going to go to a ton of young readers that are going to love and adore it. But I think for a lot of us adults, it's going to be Paco Medina and Pepe Larraz, and it is just, this is Rocket Raccoon, this is Jeff the Land Shark, this is all these things that I just, love, that I can sit down and enjoy just as much as my kid, and I hate to say, I will enjoy just as much, if not possibly more than he will. So, all sorts of fun. Going to a dark place over at Dark Horse. David Dismalshin is back with a new miniseries over at Dark Horse, and he's bringing good friend and collaborator Leah Kilpatrick, who is an equally brilliant actress, writer, and makeup artist. And then they're bringing in the incredibly talented Sue Lee, who I think is also an amazing writer and artist. Everything is there to bring this perfect creative team for an interesting new concept with Kingdom of Earth. A new 4-issue miniseries hitting FOC this week. Set in a dark future with a dystopian tone. This is going to just be brilliant. Yeah, I mean, literally every part of this creative team is amazing. You likely all know David Dismalshin from things like Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad, playing characters in the Dune film, playing villains in the One Piece TV series, and writing a ton of brilliant books. I'm just all for this. Now, going back to where Kyle had said, every price has to pay when he was referencing the House of Idol, Magic Repo Man brings that to manga form with a new series by Masakichi and Shingo Iijima. Magic Repo Man tells the tale of a hero whose abilities are to loan magic. And if you've ever played a role-playing game, you know that magic power is something you often run out of. So what if a figure had the ability to loan you magic? You can imagine leveling up quickly. However, unfortunately, as our protagonist watches all of his friends level up to an epic level, they quickly decide they no longer need him. He wants to remind everyone that that magic he loaned them comes at a price, and he's happy to take it back. So as our protagonist goes to repossess his allies' magical powers, it can be a very profitable business. This looks like a very goofy and fun twist coming from Seven Seas. And, thankfully the word reborn doesn't exist. This is not an isekai, but definitely fits a lot of those realms with the taking the tropes of pre-existing role-playing games, video games, and more, and throwing it into a fun manga twist. So Magic Repo Man, dumped by my party, all cash in with a cute support fairy to become the strongest, volume 1. It's an essay and a title, but it seems like a goofy, fun twist. Then I want to remind everyone, after a great interview with Marguerite Bennett, Andrew Lee Griffith, and Philip Sevy, Morphin Power Rangers #2 is on FOC. There are a number of incredible covers, as you can see down there, and including a brand new design cover on the second printing of issue #1. Go grab this book. It is just a whole lot of fun. I can tell you, obviously, I'm going to play like Kyle. I clearly talk about these things because I purchased them too. I am loving this new series. I'm actually shocked we don't have Billy Flakes from Coliseum on to talk about it because he's such a Power Ranger nut. Now, to hint, next week we're going to have a creator from Ignition on to talk about another new #1 that is coming up on next week's FOC. But on this week's FOC, Cy Spurrier and Michael Dowling have Minotaur talking about the fear of a future with AI. Because we are constantly on the cusp of technology and AI hitting that singularity, that moment where artificial intelligence reached such a brilliant point that it starts skyrocketing at a future we can't truly comprehend. Minotaur tells the tale of technology reaching that singularity and being shut off right at the moment it does. However, in the picoseconds, that minuscule fraction of a second that we hit the singularity, what can unfold, even if we shut everything down? Si Spurrier brings us a world where the future cannot be stopped, even if we try it, and the technology and superpower-like things that spin out of it. I am both frightened and excited to read it because this is something that I personally have long feared, is that singularity moment. And I like the idea of a comic addressing, can we truly stop it? So Minotaur is just that. Michael Dowling doing some incredible interior artwork. We have a Martin Simmons incentive cover, who is definitely the artist I can think of with his work on Department of Truth and others, bringing a haunting image there. I am very curious on this one. That's the best I can say is I'm very curious. I wish that I'm going to have to yell at some people over at Ignition for not giving me a PDF in advance, but I'm very excited to read this. This is definitely something I think worth picking up issue number 1 to see where this goes. Then my personal prose pick of the week, it might not have been Kyle's, was Shadow over the Pumpkin Queen. This is the third part in a trilogy of sequels to Nightmare Before Christmas that I think have just been brilliant so far. The first of these was Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Earnshaw, before Megan Shepherd took over with Hour of the Pumpkin Queen, and now Shadow over the Pumpkin Queen. The first of these have already been adapted into graphic novel over at Dynamite, but if you cannot wait, the prose is the way to go, as Sally, the Pumpkin Queen herself, continues the tale of Nightmare and Jack and brings us to a new town. We've obviously seen Christmas Town. We're very familiar with Halloween Town. We've seen through some of these books other delightful realms like Valentine's and more, but perhaps the darkest form now will be the, I believe, Shadow Town. I'm double checking to make sure. Yes, Shadow Town, a lost realm with new nemesis for our denizens of Halloween Town. So really excited about this. This is on FOC this Monday and is a must-have that you guys are going to want stocked in your stores. So that will be a great way to bring in Halloween, as this actually is a summer release. Another one I have to talk about is Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You, perhaps my hands-down favorite currently released manga. As much as I love Blue Lock, this slice of life is a beyond belief masterpiece. Me and the head of sales over at Square Enix have been gushing about this since it was being posted on Twitter. And I am so excited that this manga is coming out in English for everyone to read. It just had an anime drop on Crunchyroll where you can see a bunch of mini episodes leading into the upcoming anime series. And I actually have to reach out to Morgan over at Square Enix and tell her thank you for bringing that attention to me, let alone bringing this manga to all of us. Do not miss out on Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You. Volume 7 is on FOC this Monday, but if you have not read the first volumes, any of your comic shops that have access to Penguin Random House, likely meaning they have Marvel in their store, can get you volume 1 through 6. Read this manga before this superstar anime will hit. This is one of the greatest slice of life mangas you will ever read, hands down.
Guys, the far-reaching impact of this particular manga can be told in one story. When this wasn't yet available in the United States, my business partner was buying it in Japan in Japanese and sending it over, and I was selling it faster than we could get them here in Japanese to people who don't read Japanese.
Oh, absolutely. I literally have every volume that is currently out in Japan in tankobon form. I even have the actual Gan magazines, the original magazines these coming in, and I pay for the Square Enix digital app so I can read these things. I am so obsessed with Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You. And
Yeah,
when
that's
this
how,
anime
but
hit,
again, that if you want it so bad that you buy it and can't read it, like that just shows how big this manga actually is.
indeed. All right. Another great prose novel. And the last prose novel we're going to be talking about Penguin Rounds is So This Is Love, which instantly has the musical lyrics in my head. But it tells a twisted tale of what if Cinderella never tried on the glass slipper. This tells a tale by Elizabeth Lim on our classic Disney version of Cinderella, where she never tried on the glass slipper and life continued to get worse. Eventually, she breaks away from her evil stepmother, the Lady Tremaine, and ends up as a seamstress at the castle that she once went to a midnight ball at. And there, she finds a conspiracy to overthrow the still unwed prince and change the entire royal structure of the kingdom. I love the twisted tales, prose novels. These things are just beautiful alternate takes, the what ifs, if you will, in true Marvel fashion of classic Disney films. They're awesome. And, the fact that they go through the effort right off the bat with these, with the sprayed edges and everything, they look beautiful. They read amazing. Fun one for you Cinderella fans. Something is Killing the Children, I got to point out, is quickly nearing issue number 50 with issue 49 on FOC. We get in there that big, big epic change that's going to return to our modern day with Erica Slaughter. A lot of great covers. Definitely keep it on your radar. Sonic the Hedgehog, the fastest hedgehog around, is going to be battling the biggest and king of kaijus, Godzilla, in Sonic X Godzilla. I'm really excited about this from IDW. A lot of great covers there.
I have a fan theory here.
What was that?
I have a fan theory for Sonic X Godzilla. Sonic is actually a kaiju. He is just a very small kaiju.
I don't want a large Sonic. That would just destroy everything.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. He is just a very small kaiju. He's like Godzuki. He's tiny. But that he has, the reason he has the speed is that it's his kaiju power. Like, some of them are strong, some of them breathe fire, some of them are mecha. Sonic is just real fast.
I believe it. I think he has kaiju energy. He definitely has kaiju energy.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Everyone is talking to me about the Shadow Mall. I need to finish the series, and I am going to watch it, but I wanted to finish the comic first. And now I finally have a deadline which will do that, because the final issue of Star Wars Shadow Mall, the comic that leads into the animated series, will hit July 8th. So I'm going to finish reading this comic July 8th, and then July 9th, I'm going to finish watching the series, and everyone will be able to yell at me about whatever the heck happens at the final episode. But I am beyond excited for this comic. Issue number 4 has been selling like nobody's business. This is the big wrap-up that leads us directly into the animated series that it looks like will have a second season coming in 2027. But with that all said, those are our big hits over at Penguin Random House. Let's go see what's happening in the worlds of DC, Dynamite, IDW, or Dynamite, Oni Press, and others over at lunardistribution.com. I'll remind everyone, lunardistribution.com. Just scroll on down to upcoming FOC. And here you can see right off the bat the return of a classic Vertigo series with a new launch. 100 Bullets is back. Brian Azzarello, Eduardo Riso, and the haunting figure of Lono, clearly still surviving. 100 Bullets, the U.S. of Anger. Talk about a way to celebrate the 250th anniversary of this United Nation.
It's about damn time that 100 Bullets came back.
Indeed.
I've only been yelling at anyone who would listen to me from DC for 5 years.
Yep.
About getting 100 Bullets back.
Number of great covers. I am excited. Now, here's the big one. Absolute Green Lantern, issue 16, brings us Absolute Sinestro, the greatest Green Lantern to ever live. I'm a huge Sinestro fan, so you know I'm excited on this.
I'm not even going to argue with you about Sinestro being the greatest Green Lantern to ever live.
Because you know it's true.
No, I disagree, but I have a hard time giving argument against.
There it is. Fair enough. All right, the finale to the Eisner-nominated epic Absolute Martian Manhunter is on FOC. It is the final issue, the jaw-dropping final issue from the incredible Dennis Camp and Javier Rodriguez. Then things continue to get crazy for Absolute Superman as he continues his fight, the finale of the battle with King Shazam. I'm loving the Absolute Universe. Everything in this, you cannot name a title that is not doing incredible. Absolute Green Arrow, Absolute Flash, Green Lantern, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, all the Absolutes, just brilliant. Then a fun 4-issue miniseries by another Eisner award-winning writer, Mariko Tamaki. Mariko Tamaki brings us a quadruple feature set in with the cast of Adventure Time. I'm very curious what this is going to be. I am certain it will be hilarious, and I love all of the amazing covers that really give hints to the film nods that we are likely to be getting with Jake, Finn, and our wonderful array of princesses.
Well, and can we talk about the genius of the C cover with the celluloid blank? So what that is, guys, is that's a regular blank cover, but there's the clear celluloid fold over, which has your trade dress and your film sort of overlay there. So you can have an artist draw you a cover and then you close it and it'll look like it's on film scroll. So I think that's a genius way to do that. It's going to look really cool. And this was really smart for the series.
Yeah, I see. I didn't even catch that, so thank you on that. I just assumed it was a blank that was designed to look like it, but that's brilliant. That is beyond brilliant. I like it. I love whenever we get innovative with these comic covers. All right, Archie is ready to celebrate the Kyle. Give me the term.
Semi-quincentennial
of America. 250 years, and look, if there's any one man that's going to celebrate it right, it is Archie Andrews. So a collection of classic stories over the last 85 years of Archie, celebrating the history of America. I mean, I'm in. I am in. I love the old, I Want You poster homages. I love that we have 2 books that do that homage on FOC this week. But I really don't know what I'm going to go. I'm probably going to get every single one of these Archie covers. They're great.
The only mistake they made on this one is that one of the I Want You posters at the bottom, the original poster said to buy war bonds.
Yes.
Right? It should have said, I want you to be my girlfriend Betty, and I want you to be my girlfriend Veronica.
That I would have had to buy both in a heartbeat. I mean,
yeah,
I would have known that it was realistically Veronica that I would, display, but I would have to own both.
Right. That's the only mistake they made there is they didn't finish the poster and make it a joke about how Archie has 2 girlfriends.
Indeed. I realize I just said Veronica, and I don't know. Actually, man, I don't know if I would choose Veronica over Betty. I'm horrible with that. I go back and forth. It depends on the day of the week.
It's a hard pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Archie has problems.
Yeah. I don't envy him. All right. If you've never read Grant Morrison's epic introduction of Damian Wayne into modern continuity, Batman and Son is now available for $10 before we start seeing Damian in everything, including the upcoming cinematic universe of DC. So Grant Morrison, Andy Kubert, $10, you get the entire intro of Batman and Son. A crazy story. Almost as crazy as the return of Lady Oho in Batman number 11. Yes, the girl who has the kanji for death on her face is back to brutalize Batman and leave this unfinished business wrapped up. I am excited because this seems like it's going to be a massive buildup of everything that Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez have been setting up in there. As the Minotaur is coming after Penguin, we have Oho coming back. We have more darkness from Vandal Savage. We still have Poison Ivy as mayor. All of this is absolutely unbelievable, and it is just making this so brilliant. I really hate to say that Batman 163, the end of the Hush storyline, just kind of left me lacking. I mean, it's not the end of Hush 2. They've made that very clear, but it wasn't what it could have been. But every issue of Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez's Batman run has just had me excited. This is a great run. All right. If you missed out on one of those Ben 10 online exclusive variants, the folks at Dynamic Forces are offering them directly to your local comic shop. They come in bundles, so let your shop know if you want one of those great transformations. Not to mention, I believe there's still the availability to get the EXP exclusive. Is there not?
The EXP #1 exclusives are still available on the explive.com and through EXP partner stores. And we just announced the EXP exclusive #2 will be available starting Monday as part of a bundle with the #1 for $125. So you get all 4 of our exclusive #1s plus our incredibly limited #2 for $125 starting Monday.
That's awesome. And keep in mind that money is there to help support this wonderful channel and all the brilliant shows that Kyle and others help bring you.
Yep.
So here's a fun one. Maybe not for everyone, but the book accessory is a unique item. These cool little clips are perfect for your bag, your purse, or your belt buckle. And they all come with a mini book. Whether it is Star Wars, Disney focused, or other, these really cool little clips come with a mini book full of inspirational quotes or Sithy quotes, if you will, that fit in your pocket. A great little side item that is now available at your local comic shop. So let them know if you want one. We have tarot cards for Buffy the Vampire Slayer and others. So pay attention to FOC on that if you are looking for a new tarot deck. Comics the Magazine continuing onward with its 5th issue. We have classic reprints like the Golden Age Dark Shadows, getting a facsimile of the Gold Key edition. Sorry, not Golden Age. I guess that would be Silver Age. But Gold Key facsimile, as well as trade paperbacks, giving us those classic tales of our beloved vampire and family.
Yeah, some of those early appearances of Barnabas Collins in comics are really expensive. So this is a great use of facsimile, as long as it is a facsimile and not a reprint.
Yes, indeed. A lot of wonderful continuing series, so make sure you scroll through everything on Lunar and PRH to make sure you get a good taste of it. One thing I always love, because I want to always support this wonderful charity, is the Hero Initiative. And they do their 100 project every year, where they work with a publisher and get 100 blanks made. And they get 100 artists to do incredible pieces of original art on those blanks, which they auction off to raise money for the Hero Initiative, which helps comic creators in need, whether they are aging creators that unfortunately did not have the financial support that they really deserved from their publishers and their craft, or creators who just fall upon hard times, health issues, and the like. Because as much as we all love this industry, I think we can all agree and be aware that no one in this industry is paid their deserved dues. The Hero Initiative is there to help out these wonderful creators, and they do it through things like this. Now, the 100 Project trade paperback is a collection. For those of us who can't afford to help out and grab one of those original pieces of art, we can definitely afford the $15 to get the amazing collection that has scans of every single one of those beautiful original art covers from top creators like Ed McGuinness, Frank Quietly, Howard Chaykin, Adam Kubert, Arthur Adams, Jay Gonzo, Michael Avon Oming. I could literally list 100 creators in this, and you will be astounded at every single one of them. You get to see all of their artwork in this single binding. Now, this is limited to 1,500 copies, and they do not intend to reprint this 100 project again. So reach out to your local comic shop, get an order for this, because not only is this a beautiful book of amazing artwork, it all benefits the brilliant creators we love and adore. So, Giant Size X-Men 100 Project. I cannot wait to see some of these artists do stunning, stunning takes on X-Men. Harry Potter fans, bookmarks are available. And Heavy Metal is back with issue number 6. Some great covers there. I like this Amanda Jansen piece right there. We're getting the possibly last I Hate Fairyland trade paperback as Scotty Young puts the book on hiatus after issue number 50. So order up this trade so we can convince Scotty back to the book.
Well, I don't think Scotty wants to end I Hate Fairyland. I think the hiatus has to do with, well, gee whiz, he's got to write Lobo.
Yes. All right. Last week, we got to talk about The Last Starfighter trade paperback. I love The Last Starfighter. It is one of my favorite films. Kyle, I assume I'm not alone on that?
You know, it's not really my jam, but I understand why people love it. It's a classic.
Well, the classic is back with an official sequel in comic form. Ben Robb and Derek Hughes bring us back to the 1980s with the sequel to The Last Starfighter in comic form. After the epic film, we get to see our last Starfighter, Alex Rogan, continue on to fight the evil alien forces as the sole member and leader of the Star League. I am so hyped on this. It is ridiculous. Some brilliant covers available on it. And having already read the first 8 pages, which I believe are on a preview somewhere up in here, I think that you guys
are available on PRH.
Yeah.
Or on Lunar, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing. You just asked me about the Last Starfighter movie. I'm not a fan of the movie. I read those 8 pages and subscribed to this book.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the movie, but the comic book is really interesting and really fun. So sometimes when you go to Lunar Distribution, read those preview pages that they offer, because you might get something you wouldn't otherwise get because you've had a taste of it.
Absolutely. I mean, I got to say, I will always adore the concept. That I think, especially modern day kids, I'm shocked we haven't seen a remake of Last Starfighter, because the concept, if you're unfamiliar, is a kid playing a video game where he is a starfighter, only to discover it was actually a test, a game sent by aliens to Earth to find somebody who could pilot a starfighter vessel. And every kid playing a game wants to have that, where they're like told, you're so good at this game, you get to do this in real life.
I mean, we kind of did. We just had it in a real poor way with Adam Sandler and Kevin James. But sure.
Very true. All right. A lot of great continuing series, a lot of fun new indie books. Nothing better than Mayor Poison Ivy of Gotham City. And yet there's one thing I got to talk about. Pop Kill gets yet another reprint. This is just a reprint of Pop Kill #1, but it features a new Amanda Connor cover, 4th of July themed. And I don't think anything ever gets better than an Amanda Connor cover. Like, I wish we could see it. We're ordering blind, but you know what? I'm in. I am in.
Well, so that's something that, is worth mentioning. Sometimes when these publishers have these covers where you don't get to see them, it's hard to order them. One of the safest bets is to put a name like Amanda Connor on that, and that enables a level of trust from a retailer that we know it's going to be good.
Indeed. All right. For those of you guys who are loving films like The Devil Wears Prada and a certain actress coming back, I'm certain many of you are hoping The Princess Diaries gets a new film. And well, that doesn't seem to be in the books yet. The graphic novel of the classic novel by Meg Cabot is up here. So if you are a fan of The Princess Diaries, or you think you might know somebody who could be. The graphic novel is a great way to go in. Beautiful, beautiful artwork, not only on the cover, but throughout the interior pages by Bethany Crandall. Love that they got Meg Cabot to actually adapt her own book. Radiant Black. Oh my God. The twist ending at the end of issue 42. Utterly spoiled on the cover. So sorry, guys, if you haven't read it yet. Wow, what a twist. And now, issue 43. Nathan Burnett is back with spoiler covers right there, finally revealed. This is intense. Radiant Black fans, I'm hoping I wasn't the person that spoiled it for you, but this is it. This is exciting. So issue 42 getting a reprint and issue 43 on FOC. Meanwhile, we talked recently with David Avalone about Red Sonja Noir. She is back with The Plunder and The Princess. Fun noir-style storytelling with everyone's favorite she-devil with a sword. Red Sonja Noir.
I've been after Dynamite for about 2 years now to do a Red Sonja Vampirella crossover that's all 1920s, 30s noir style book. So if this is successful, maybe I'll finally get my way.
Indeed. And Red Sonja doing great, not only getting the one-shot noir, but also issue number 3 of the new ongoing series. The Santos sisters, the award-winning Greg and Fake, back with a brand new book written by infamous indie comic creator Bob Burden. Yes, the Santos sister is back, and yes, that is indeed the Flaming Carrot, of course, with Bob Burden on the cover of the B option. So, if you needed more fun indie great tales, the Santos sister. Wonderful jumping on point, wonderful book, fun for all.
And if you need to know what cover I'm ordering, you're clearly not paying attention.
All right. For those of you guys who've been waiting for the fallout in Savage Dragon from the quest to Russia, issue 280 finally brings it to us. Eric Larson back with his classic heroes returning. Yes, that is the original Savage Dragon and Patriot and more. Savage Dragon Jr. and Savage Dragon Sr., I guess we're going to call them, are together again with some great covers, including a Brett Booth and Livesay piece right there. And just in time to catch you guys up, if you missed it, the Savage Dragon Welcome to San Francisco trade paperback that collects 265 through 272, including the crazy scenes with Mickey Mouse. Whew. Not an all ages book, but definitely some crazy fun for you Savage Dragon Eric Larson fans. Gail Simone She-Spawn continuing on. Skinbreaker gets new printings, including a second printing of the oversized Treasury edition to the finale by David Finch. We have more Spawn fun as Heaven declares war on the Hellspawns under Matthew Rosenberg's new writing of the classic character. Meanwhile, the incredible editor-in-chief, Tom Healy, taking over both Salmon Twitch and Scorched with fun new tales in the outside of Al Simmons' parts of the Spawn universe. If you guys need something really good for the semi-quincentennial, the Spirit of Independence blank might be yours. It is an entirely blank sketchbook with every page capable of handling amazing artwork. But this is going to be something where you can really make your own taste of American flavor in comic art form. I definitely have a few of these where I would love to get a replica of that Uncle Sam Bonds poster with various other characters. I don't know, Kyle, do you have a specific person you want to do the I Want You poster with?
Yep. I could never afford them, though.
Oh, I'm most curious.
It's Alex Ross.
Oh, Alex Ross. Who would you have him do? Uncle Sam or?
Yeah, I mean, Alex Ross's Uncle Sam was one of the most interesting books I think Alex has ever done. And so I would love to have him do a cover, an Uncle Sam cover on this. But in terms of actual people I could actually afford, you have your Brett Beans, your I think I'd like to see it kind of go that way rather than maybe super realistic. Scotty, maybe.
Oh yeah, my dream: Mercan Duofo doing an Aunt Sam. You know, maybe like a Betty Page figure with a big white, beard barely hanging on.
See, if the trade dress were smaller, I would definitely have Uncle Sam yelling at uh, Betsy
Someone.
Ross for claiming she made the flag and she didn't. Something like that.
That's a historical deep cut you got right there.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. All right. Star Wars fans, people who have been watching this show know I am obsessed with High Republic, and this is the final piece of Phase 3, finally coming to print, a collection of all of the Star Wars Insider short stories by Lydia King and Alyssa Wong, wrapping up Phase 3 of the High Republic. This is a sad piece considering Star Wars Insider is over. There are no more issues we will be getting anymore, and this is therefore the last collection of great original prose stories from that infamous magazine. So I am looking forward to grabbing this hardcover and saying I officially have everything of the 3 phases of High Republic. One I know both me and Kyle are excited about, Starhenge, Book 2. We've had Liam Sharp on the show before to talk about it. Go track down that by searching Order Up Liam Sharp. A Kiss for Atticus is his epic new tale. Unbelievable, because Liam writes and draws everything. He uses amazing mixed media. He even appears as a character in this first issue. And I can tell you, all 4 issues of Book 2 of Starhenge are complete. I have read all 4 thanks to Liam. It is amazing. It is an epic. I mean, Kyle, I'm not alone in being excited about this, right?
No, absolutely not. I always love when somebody with the pedigree of Liam Sharp, who's worked for everyone and done about everything, comes with a creator-owned, creator-run, totally his own thing book. And this, just to hear him talk about it, got me excited about a story that maybe wouldn't have otherwise, again, been my run to the store and make sure I order kind of book. But the excitement that Liam has and hearing him talk about it sold me on this book. So that's the part that I'm really excited for, is to see, him and his daughter working on it together. Is also a really interesting, angle on this book that I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Indeed. Well, I'll talk a bit more about that soon. But first, let's wrap things up. Supergirl Survive, issue number 2, introduces the Gang of Lobos. I guess the last Zarnian isn't the last Zarnian in this Elseworld tale, but I am excited to have Supergirl against Lobo once again. It seems to be a theme this summer as everyone prepares for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow hitting theaters later this month. Then, the Transformers the movie continues on with its anniversary reprint editions. We're just dropping the term facsimile, thankfully, but there is a facsimile-esque cover for issue number 2 as well. Meanwhile, Valhalla, spelled very differently, brand new Ablaze book by Ben Fisher, giving us a very unique and different take on Norse mythology. Vampirella gets a summer special one-shot because, let's face it, Vampirella could use a little bit more suntan. Erica Schultz and Adrian Mello give us a very unique one-shot tale on the woman from Draculon who likely normally avoids those UV rays. And then we wrap it up with a must-have omnibus, the Wonder Woman Rebirth Omnibus by Greg Rucka, which features incredible artwork, not only by Liam Sharp, Nicholas Scott, Bilquis Everly, and more. It gives us our Wonder Woman Year 1 story, as well as some other unbelievable epics. This is an amazing collection with 30 incredible issues for $100. I mean, Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman is only comparable, in my opinion, to Tom King's epic he's doing right now. Both amazing tales and must-reads for any fan of the warrior Amazon princess. But with that said, I think it's time we cut to our top 10. What do you say, Kyle? First off, our honorable mention, in my mind, I know it's a sign of a slap towards the wonderful prose picks of Kyle, but I got to give it to Shadow over the Pumpkin Queen. As a Nightmare Before Christmas obsessed fan, I cannot wait for this trilogy hat trick.
Well, and again, on the top 10, we're often talking about covers, and I think this cover is cooler than the two I picked.
It is a beautiful cover. And yes, Acres, I will say I would love a sequel to Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't think Tim Burton's ever going to give it to us. And I cannot say how much I appreciate all of the comics, manga, and prose that we've been getting from Nightmare recently. So I'm happy. So let's get off to our top 10 and start off with Sorcerer Supreme number 8. It's another continuing tale with the incredible Scarlet Witch as the Sorcerer Supreme. But what has my attention is this amazing cover by Aka, a.k.a. featuring both Elsa Bloodstone and Jeff the Landshark, a duo that always will sell comics no matter what comics they're on, let alone together. Must have.
Make Jeff the Sorcerer Supreme, and I'll read a Jeff book.
There it is. Minotaur makes its way to number 9 because I think this is a brilliantly interesting concept and has a lot of potential to really be an amazingly talked about book with the idea of a potential singularity happening in our lifetimes. In spot 8, it's Sonic versus Godzilla, a battle of two kaijus, if you ask Kyle, because both definitely have kaiju energy. Number 7, Starhenge Book 2, A Kiss of Atticus. This has an amazing cover by Liam Sharp's daughter, Matilda McCormick Sharp, who is a brilliant sequential artist in her own right, with an amazing graphic novel on Kickstarter and some brilliant comic work. I think this cover is amazing. I can't speak for certainty, but I believe this is Matilda's first big US comic cover, at least her first image cover to my knowledge, but one way or another, I hope it is not her last. I think it is a super amazing cover on a book where, having already read the interiors, is an amazing book. I know this is the cover I'm going to get. I'm going to probably get multiple covers, but this is not a book to sleep on. Liam did a masterpiece. Go grab the trade paperback if you haven't already read Starhenge. This is going to be awesome. Batman number 11, the Chris Anka swimsuit, because let's face it, anything with Batman in a Speedo is going to sell. Did you guys see the last time Batman was in a Speedo? That is a book that you could open order like this. We put it in our top 10. It was a $4 book, and it is now $120 plus on the aftermarket. Don't sleep on the love of sexy male cheesecake covers. This is going to be a big one once again. Last Starfighter, Taran Clark cover. This is amazing. I always love Taran Clark's incredible artwork, but this just screams the movie poster for a film I wish would have come out like 30 years ago, but I am happy to be grabbing it as a comic book now. Kyle's not even a huge fan of the original film, and he's going after this. That says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Spot number 4, Kingdom of Earth. It's David Dismalshin, Leah Kilpatrick, and Sue Lee. This is beyond exciting. This is just a powerhouse team. I can't not acknowledge Frank Svetkovic's incredible work. I just avoided saying it because I'm hoping I'm not screwing up his last name. But one way or another, this I think is going to be another huge one. Anything by David and Leah is worth paying attention to. They have some other amazing comics on the way. Pay attention to that powerhouse team. The Last Ronin Training Day. I don't know how we didn't talk about this on PRH earlier, but this is a huge one. A one-shot set during The Last Ronin as Michelangelo trains the daughter of April O'Neil and Casey Jones. This is brilliant. And that Clayton Crane cover, beautiful. Like, Kyle, I know you love the ratio, and we normally don't put ratios in there. I agree. The ratios are amazing, but this Clayton Crane cover is something beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's a bad cover on this. This isn't the cover I would have chosen. But again, we don't put ratios in the top 10 for a reason. So the cover I'm ordering 75 copies of, so I get 3 of the ratio. It doesn't count.
I mean, not to mention Kevin Eastman, Tom Waltz, Ben Bishop, the Escorza brothers. It's everyone you love back. But for me, the one true Green Lantern, I got my Green Lantern somewhere over here. Sinestro finally makes his way to the Absolute Universe. And look, every character has made their way in a very powerful form in the Absolute Universe. Sinestro is already absolute. I cannot wait to see what absolute Sinestro is like. John Hoy Lindsay does an unbelievable job making him look like a total badass. I cannot wait to see this. This is going to be awesome. Absolute Green Lantern number 16. Then it's Simbi, brand new Simbi one shot with Paco Medina doing a great cover. I'm glad that Simbi can spell that well. That is really impressive that he can write his own name at that age. All right, that was our top 10. It is an amazing array of books. We had some great interviews, but we got to wrap it all up. So, Kyle, what else is coming up on the EXP this weekend?
Well, tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern, Nick is back with the original art experience. He'll be back after a couple of weeks off. And then you'll have Nancy McCann from Comics Unlimited in Cleveland, Tennessee, doing her weekly vintage and request show. Then next week is a full week of shows. I think everyone is back from convention and seeing He-Man and all of the other things that people have been doing this week. So we'll have all of that, plus maybe a little more if I can get my act together. So stick around and follow us on social media to find out.
All right, don't forget, get your orders into your local comic shop as soon as possible. We'll be back next Friday with even more amazing comics on FOC and a brilliant returning guest with an awesome new comic series. Thank you guys all for watching, and we'll see you then.